Hello everyone, it's me, Kelly again. Today we are going to start our second section of the training, which is age categories. And in this training, there would be 5 topics. First, about what age categories are there. 2, problems. 3, how to deal with the problems. And 4, very useful activities designed that you can use right away. And the last one is summary. What age categories are there? As I mentioned in our interview, in our centers, we have students aged from 3 to 16. So as you can see, all these 5 pictures. We'll take a look at the one on top left. These are adult level. Are they our students? No, not at the moment. And how about these ones? They are like senior school students? I think so. They will be our students if their age is under 16. These ones are babies? Maybe not. Our students will be above 3, so if you are not able to talk, we won't have you as our students. Primary school students, of course. And then 5 years olds, yes. So, we will divide age categories into early childhood development, elementary age development, junior high age development, and high school age development. But in our training today, we will mostly focus on early childhood, elementary age, and junior high age. Early childhood development, we would divide them into 2 different groups. First is toddler from 1 to 4 years old, and then a 5 years old group. You might see that we try to divide 4 and 5 into different groups. That's because growing from 4 to 5, kids actually developed a lot in their brain and their language. So teaching a 4 years old and teaching a 5 years old is completely different. Let's see what are the problems of each age group. For toddler 1 to 4, they cry a lot. They learn from repetition. This might tell you something when you are trying to teach them. Telegraphic speech is normal for them. We'll talk about what is it. And short attention span. For 5 years olds, their memory expanded. They're learning to learn. They start to be logical, and their attention span expanded. Telegraphic speech. As you know that babies from before 18 months old, they would progress from babbling to speaking their first word. And from 18 to 24 months old, they would move on to telegraphic speech, often 2-word sentences. Like for example, if they want some cake, they wouldn't say, "Mommy, I want some cake." Instead, they would say, "Want cake," because those are the only words they might know. Telegraphic speech is common in second language learning because although these kids are not babies anymore, but it is their first time to learn this new language and their vocabulary is very small. So in China, some parents would come to teachers and complain that my kid has been with you for half a year, but why can he only say words, not sentences? Is it because you only teach them words? In this case, we have to educate these parents and tell them that this is normal. Instead, if you try to make it a big deal when your kid is speaking using telegraphic speech, then you might in a way make them less confident, or in the future they might refuse to speak English as well. So we need to educate the parents, but as our side, as a teacher, we do need to keep the students using sentences. If they fail to do it, we can get them to copy or repeat what we say in a way that we can form them to use sentences as much as possible. Early childhood development have the problems as mentioned before, and here are some tips that to help you to deal with all the problems. Number one, be clear and direct in how you speak. Some teachers will say, don't make a noise. But you would realize that everybody is making noise in your class. That's because they don't even know what is a noise. Some teachers will say, sit nicely at the very beginning, but actually students don't know how to sit nicely. So be direct and clear. I found it is very, very useful and important for these age groups. If you want your kid to be quiet, just tell them that you can speak now when teacher is talking, or you just show them a action of lip zipped, and then if you want them to sit nicely, just show them how they should sit and what is not right, like you leaning on the other student, or you are falling on the floor. These are not right. You can't do that. You have to be very specific on these rules with them. Be animated and lively. This is very important. You should know. And as I said, all the kids' teachers needs to be a very good actor or actress. Use TPR activities whenever possible. I think some of you you would know TPR after you finish your TEFL course, total physical response, which means you teach in with actions, because most of the kids remember better with actions. So use them as much as possible, and also don't expect the kid to just sit nicely in all your classes, because kids like to move around, and that's normal. So we have to create different types of activities to keep them moving around sometimes and make them sit still sometimes. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you to control them. Short, sharp games and activities. Change the environment. Use gimmicks and reward them, very important. Later on, we'll have some reward system that I would like to show you. Puppy talk. As for a new teacher, or as when you are having a completely new class, I think it's always smart to bring a puppet, because if sometimes kids will be scared by some every new things. Like for example, you're their new teacher, it's their first time to see you, they might get scared and they might cry. So in that way, it's always good to have a puppet or a balloon. These things most of the kids would like, and they would get very calm after seeing those. So instead of go to the kid and say, hi, my name is Kelly, you could just take a puppet and do a puppet talk. Hello, my name is Kelly, what's your name? And move your hand with that. So this would be a good trick that when you are going with some new classes. About class management, here are some cases. Teacher A has a new class with a group of 3 years olds. This is first class, and one of the students cried and didn't want to go in the classroom when she saw the teacher. What creativity ways can you think about? So you might already have some idea in your mind. For me, I would say that first, it depends on what time it is. If it is class time and I have all my nice other students in the classroom, only this one is outside crying, then first, like I said, I will try to use a puppet or a balloon to get their attention. And in our centers, we provide stickers, so probably I might use stickers to say that, oh, if you come in, I give you a sticker, which one do you like? But I did meet some students who just can't stop crying for about a month, or who can't get into the classroom for about a month. So these are like different kinds of students. However, you have to reassure the parents that this is okay, this is normal, because otherwise the parents will start to get angry and shouting at the kid and even hit them, which always annoyed me. So we have to try our best to tell the parent that this is normal, and as a teacher we need to do whatever we can to get the student to like us. So I would like to see what are the creative way you have for this case in your task. Next, we'll take a look at 6 to 9 years old primary school students for the elementary age development. So for this group, they are developing different skills, for example, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, recognition skills, social skills, emotion, coping skills. So for gross motor skills, for example, a whole body movement like jumping, hopping, running. So they are developing these skills and they love to move around. Fine motor skills like movements between your eyes and hands and fingers, like for example writing, cutting and pasting. So craft is useful in your class. However, don't make it for too long. 5 to 10 minutes craft is enough. Otherwise you would get complaints. Recognition skills like mathematical reading and writing skills, phonics and letters writing and other writing activities would be very necessary for this age group. Social skills, like we would try to teach not only English but also some in our first section we mentioned values, sharing toys, sharing your stationery, stuff like that. Emotion coping skills, they would reason their emotions and coping with separation and anger. So don't treat them as babies anymore. They have reasons for their emotions. Try to talk to them as an adult and try to help them when they are angry or sad. This age group, the students will be very curious and cute. They love moving. They are developing different skills. So for this age group, I have another case. Teacher B has a group of 6 years olds. This class has 9 boys and 1 girl. The boys are very naughty. It's impossible to let them stay quiet and listen to the class. What can you do to control the class better? Okay, you might already have some ideas. I'll tell you what I would do. First, I would set up my classroom, and for elementary level, my classroom is completely different from the previous level. So I'll show you what I would do. At the very beginning of the course, and at the very beginning of every class, I would practice this rule with them. So what we would do is I'll write down 2 and 3, 4 and 5. So what we would do is I would ask them what actions should we do for 1. So 1, we will say how about jumping. Then I would demo jumping and add everybody to jump. So which is when every time I say 1, everyone have to jump. When I say 2, everyone have to, for example, run. And number 3, clap your hands. And number 4, turn around. And then number 5, sit down. So in this case, I don't say any of these words anymore during the class. Instead, whenever I notice anyone who is absent-minded or anyone who starts to be naughty moving around, then I would shout the number and see who is the first one to react. And they would all be very concentrating when they realize after the first time, they realize that, oh, I was playing something else, I forgot about this, and then I was not the first one to stand up, then they would be very sad. So I would say, for example, 2, and then everybody have to run. So, but for sure, at the very beginning of the class and at the very beginning of the course, you need to practice with them and remind them of what number represents what words. So this is a trick that I do a lot. And also for this age group, I will try to connect all the new vocabulary to actions. Like for example, if I'm teaching bedroom, I would do a sleeping action and get them to do it with me and say, this is a bedroom. Do teach your new vocabulary in easy sentences, because all the vocabularies they would use in sentences anyway. So we try to help them to form that at the very beginning. With this age group, we will have to have a clear structure to your lessons. If you have a long break, like if you have a long gap between activities, they will start to move around. So try to be very clear about all your structures, all your steps. Expose them to different cultures. Classroom management needs to be suitable for them. Cater for different learning styles. Take an interest in your students' lives beyond the classroom. Be a positive role model and be motivation. Next, junior high age group, students from 10 to 13, teenagers, tough group. They are more cautious about life. Most of them, especially in China, they lose interest in studying, especially studying English, because they are far behind. They were far behind in school for a long time, and they kind of give up English and worry about being liked. So for them, we need to keep the dry content quiet. If I would like to tell you about this. In China, in schools, most of the teachers teaching English with grammatic skills. So they will explain all the grammatic rules to the students in Chinese maybe, and then so the students will be all I have to say that in China most students have most difficulties with grammars. I think it's because they might have this knowledge of how these grammar points formed, when to use them, but actually they were not exposed enough examples or communications to get them to use them correctly. That's why in our class we have to keep the dry content out and try to link every activity to something that they can apply in life. All the knowledge to something that they can apply in life, they can use in their real communication. Be a team leader, be a role model, make yourself the object of humor. This I need to remind you. Teenagers are very annoying, I think, but at the same time they can be your best friend. In my very first job, I was just graduated from university, and then I got this job, and my boss gave me most of teenage classes, and I have this kid called Alan in my class. He's quite annoying. He insults all the girls and he insults me a lot. But later on we were best friends, I think, because every time when he insulted me, I wouldn't take it like personally. Instead, I would make joke with him, and in some ways but if he tried to insult all the other girls, I would be very strict to that. So insulting me as your teacher, I think it's okay, that's normal. I wouldn't take it personally. Insulting all the other students, especially grown up teenage girls, I think that's really bad. So we have to try to stop that. Use grown up gimmicks, research their interest, get them moving around wherever possible. Tips for classroom management and activities. So this is some tips for how to manage the class. Normally in young levels, for example, in I need to erase this, sorry. Okay. For younger levels, we would try to we would write down their names at the very beginning of the class and also form them a skill of how to spell their name. So for example, I would go and say, hello, what's your name? My name is Kelly. How do you spell? Kelly, da da da. And next one may be Tom. And after that, every time they did a good job, we would give them a star. Okay, and so on. So after the class, we'll calculate everybody's star and so on. But there are some times when students doesn't care about the stars, so or they are very, very difficult to do with. So we will have other ways. For example, consumption type, and then we'll have building type and destruction type. In these ones, it depends. If your class have some quite violent students who doesn't like to be deducted any points or stuff, this is not good for you. But if everybody's nice enough, then this would be fine. So you would draw a whole thing, like draw ice cream. If they are good, we'll add up the ice cream to be higher. If they are not good, we'll erase a cone or something, so that to tell them that if you don't behave, then your ice cream will be smaller and smaller. But I think it's better for us to use positive reinforcement rather than negative. So we can do this building type, like build up the grapes. We'll just have 3 grapes at the beginning for everybody, and then every time you're good, I draw 1 more grape, and so on. And the fish, I would draw bubbles, so every student would have your name on the fish, and then every time you're good, your fish will have 1 bubble, and so on. So it's all very creative ideas that you can use, and I hope you enjoy doing that, because I love to have different ideas. Destruction type is very fun as well. So if you draw some teeth for everyone, and then what I would do is, if they are not very good, then we would make, for example, the teeth black, tell them, oh, you have a bad tooth, something like that. Or if they are good, then we'll add it 1 more tooth. So you can start with two teeth on the top, 2 teeth at the bottom, and then draw more and more, and so on. So if they're bad, then we'll tell them that, oh, sorry, these teeth become bad, stuff like that. So next will be some ideas for how to teach each age group. For preschool, for pocket students, which are 3 to 5 years old, they have difficulty using sentences. They remember better after experiencing it, and they have short-term memories, and their pronunciation is emphasized. Should we teach sentences to this age group? What should we teach, and how? The answer is yes. We should teach them sentences, and we should teach them easy sentences, and keep repeating these sentences in as much as possible with different topic. Like this is it's I like, I don't like, I can, I can't, I have, I am, blah blah blah. So how to introduce? Start from vocabulary. So in your class or in your lesson plan, you should start with a warming up game, and then introduce new vocabulary, move on to phrases, and add parts to make full sentences. How to drill them? We drill the words, sentences with body movements, gestures, in rhythm, and physical games. Gesture. If you are teaching what's this? And the answer is, it's a cat. Most students will say cat, but I want them to say it's a cat. Then it turns out that most of them will say it's cat. They miss an So in this case, I will put 1, 2, 3. So I will clap my hands and say it's a cat. Then we will form them to say it's a cat, and clapping hands, and gradually we make it faster. It's a cat, so that they know, oh, the structure should be like this. Then how about birds can fly? It's just the same. Birds can fly. If you're tired with using clapping hands, you can get them to stomp their feet or touch their body parts like head, shoulders, and knees. They love doing that. Physical games. You're teaching long sentences. It's too long that they might not know every structure or they might not be able to say it. Then you can use, for example, hula hoop. If this sentence is, let's just take it's a cat as an example. There are three different parts, so we put 3 hula hoops on the floor. Get students to jump in each hula hoop by saying the structure. So the first one should be it's, second one should be a, and the third one should be cat. So they can jump and say it's a cat. The same with using a ball. They have to pat the ball on the floor. Every patting would be it's a cat. Easy, right? And it's fun. They love doing that. Rhythm or chant. Students love songs. Primary students, the first 3 to 5 years old students love songs. So if it's a long sentence that you think is very difficult for them to remember, you can make it as a rhythm. For example, it is this one. I will say, the birds can fly, 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 fly. The cats can run, 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 and so on. You can make up anything you want with tones or chants that they can, rhythms that they are familiar with. Next one, how to use. We not only teaching students the words or sentences, we want them to use it in real life. So we will create some role play and experience. So, for example, if you're teaching fruit, vegetables, you can make a market scene or a restaurant or a store scene when they can buy and sell. If it's about how to plant a flower or make a toy, you can create that experience to remind them, especially when you have all these things with you, all these props with you to show them how to do it. Tips. Repetition is important. Keep repeating the same structure with different kind of activities. Break down the sentence and pay attention to pronunciation. For 6 to 8 years old, they always answer with words, remember better with actions and experience. And they beginning to write and read, and pronunciation needs to be emphasized. How to encourage them to use sentence? How to do reading and writing? I will put a video together with this section for you to take a look at it. We encourage students, remind them to use words in the question and give them a subject as I or other subjects so that they would have to use a sentence with that subject. Here are some activities you can do. You can take a look and then I hope you can use it in your class. I might like to mention this one because the previous two were quite easy. Words and numbers. So you need a die. And then what you need to do is, if it's just a long sentence, you will tell them the part 1 is doctors, number 2 is can, da 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 da. So when you roll the dice, if you roll 5, then you have to read people. Okay, so this is just for them to practice to notice different structures in the sentence. And number 2, sentence type. So it's the same kind of sentences. I just want them to practice and to find out if they already be able to recognize these words. So what we will do is if they roll 5, they have to read I can cook in the kitchen. Just read it. And if they roll 6, then you have to read all the sentences above. This is fun and they love it. Let the sentence. I love to do these games with slightly older, maybe we say 8 to 10 years old, yeah. And this is a game to practice using different grammar points. So I will show them a sentence, and I would first divide them into teams, give them some points. Let's say I'll give you 100 points, and then I'll show you a sentence. You have to tell me if you think it's true or false, and how many points would you bet that for true and false. For example, for this one, he gets up at 7 o'clock. I would say that I bet 50 points for true. Then you have to mark down which team bet how many points. And after that, if the answer turns out to be true, this team can have an extra 50 points adding to their original points. If it turns out that they are wrong, then they would have to erase all those 50 points. And if you come to meet a sentence that is already false, then you will have to ask them why and ask them to tell you the correct sentence. So this is a good way for them to practice using grammar points. And here are some other suggestions for activities you can do in class. I hope you can take a look at them and then try to use it, apply it in your class. That will be the end of our second section. I hope you can finish the task and send us as soon as possible. Do take a look at all the contents and mark down some useful information. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.